All right, so first and foremost, thank you for sitting down and having this conversation. I appreciate you letting me squat in your session.
Hey, yo.
I appreciate that.
Of course.
How old are your kids right now?
I have a daughter, 19 years old, and a son that's 4 years old.
Man.
So I got the best of both worlds.
Right.
Do you want to know why there's such a big gap?
Huge gap. Please explain.
Scared to become a father again.
Really?
You know, when I was younger, I'm still young, but when I had a kid at a very young age. I felt, I mean, not that young, but young to me. I think
How old?
Maybe 22.
Okay.
23 maybe, I think it was.
Right.
But me and her mother were just young, and it didn't work out. So at 2 years old, we had got, divorced.
Right.
We were together for a couple years. We had a kid. No hard feelings because we just, it just didn't work, man. It just didn't work.
Right.
And the best thing was to get separated. But at the end of the day, at that time, I didn't know that separation was going to come with turmoil. I say this all the time. After 17 years of being a divorced, separated dad, I don't wish that on my worst enemy.
Wow.
It gets worse before it gets better, but when it gets better, it's good. And sometimes it's hard for other men or women to control. I'll give you an example. We got divorced when she was 2 years old, and it was tough in the beginning. I came back a couple, weeks later. She was already seeing somebody. Things didn't work out, and it was just getting. That's why we needed to separate.
Right.
And a guy answered the door, and he's like, "Can I help you?" And I was like, "Can you help me?" Like,
right.
This is my house.
Right.
But it's not my house no more.
Right.
But it is. But it's not. We had to figure it out through the whole.
Man.
But the point I'm making is, at that time it was like MySpace or whatever, and there's like a picture of my kid and them like on there at the Coney Island, boardwalk, and you have to not be a dick. I'm like, I'll fuck him up. Like,
right.
Like,
oh my God.
And a lot of times you blame the guy, and I've learned over the years it's not only the guy, and at the end of the day, it's not only the girl. These are things you have to get used to, and sometimes we're not ready for that. The reason why I also say I didn't enjoy. And I didn't enjoy at the time being a separated dad. Now it's like my daughter's 19. We have a one-on-one relationship.
Right.
We meet up to go eat breakfast, have dinner. We go on vacations, thank God.
Right.
I look at her when her and my son are together, and I feel like, fuck, I don't need anything else. But the reason why I didn't like it at the time was because, I'll give you an example. And this is nothing against dads who are in the house with their kids. But if your kid comes up to you and you're like, Daddy, like, let's go outside and play. And you're like, yo, tomorrow, man, Daddy got to finish something up. Tomorrow, when I get home, we'll play outside. When you're a separated dad, you don't really have tomorrow.
Right.
You may just have that Saturday and Sunday. Or maybe, you tend to lose yourself. And I think to your question, or even my statement of why I have such a big gap, was you focus on your kid so hard to be there in their lives, that you then forget about yourself. And for a long time, I forgot about, I would mess with girls and hang out and go to, I'm obviously involved in many buckets of, events and streetwear and everything. On a Tuesday, I go hang out at open bar. You hang out, You do what you do during the week, and then the weekend would come, and it was for my daughter. I remember girls saying yo, you don't got time to hang out with me on the weekend, and I don't got time for you. And I was like, all right, well, I don't got time for you,
right? Because
my daughter was everything. I really look forward. I'll pass it back to you, but I'm gonna say this: when, as a separated dad, Fridays, I was so excited to pick up my kid, and then Sunday I would literally drive away. With tears in my eyes, because that's not what I wanted. And what I mean is, and at the same time, what do you say to yourself? Like, okay, so I'll stay in a house of turmoil and raise a kid. That's not healthy.
That's not healthy, man.
But at the end of the day,
they know that tension. They know that environment. One tip for dads who are co-parenting or single dads: give me a tip that will help them, tremendously.
Oh, just because I got mad love for you, we're going to give more than one tip. We're going to give a couple of tips.
Love it.
Is that camera rolling?
It's rolling.
Okay. We look right into it. First of all, the first tip is never, ever let the kid suffer from disagreements or arguments that you have. Never get into an argument with her and then not go pick up the kid.
Right.
Okay? Because let me tell you something. Years later, they'll figure it out.
Oh, yeah.
You don't need to tell them that their mother is a piece of shit, or the mother don't need to tell them that their father's a piece of shit. The kid will figure it out later on.
100%.
Okay? Trust me. Number two, if the mother or the father, vice versa, doesn't let you see your kid, okay? I come from the street. I grew up in Coney Island. I consider myself a street type kid. I've been around. I don't give a fuck. Go to court. Yeah. Some people are like, yeah, I don't really like go to the court, but you ain't going to the cops.
Right.
You ain't fucking ratting.
You're not snitching. You're trying to see your kid.
No. Go to court. So then when you say, hey, I want to pick up my kid, and they say no, or she says no, or he says no, depending on the vice versa situation, relationship, you call up, bam. You get your fucking sheet. Cops will go and you go get your kid. And it's rough circumstances, but the point I'm trying to make is all my life, and even over the many years I've been doing podcasting and sitting down with people, and people who do know of me know I'm heartfelt and how much I care about parenting. Here's the thing. It affects kids. I sit down with all different people from all walks of life. There's a lot of people. I remember sitting down. I give an example. I remember sitting down with Scott Storch, and things that people always worried about how much money he spent in cocaine he snorted up his nose. I want to know, how his parents were growing up. I didn't know this, but his parents got divorced when he was like 14. How did that affect you? I couldn't eat for 3 months. Like I was eating terribly. Like it affects kids.
Yeah.
Girls, daughters with no father, it affects them.
Right.
A lot of them, most of the time, are looking for a father figure.
Yeah.
One up messing with multiple different men, can never find that.
Right.
Kids with no father. Listen, it affects them. So the point I'm trying to make is being there is all that fucking matters. Again, that's why presence over presence was created. Yeah, I'll give you the longer reason why. Make sure you remind me of why it was created. But your presence in your kid's life, this ain't no bullshit, will be the best gift that you can ever give them. There's no gift greater than that. Like, my daughter bought her 600 Barbie dolls. I love to call her now and see if she remembers all 600.
You're right.
Probably not.
You're
but
right.
she'll remember the moments that I brought her to my mother's house, and we would eat tomato and mozzarella. I don't know. I'm just saying it's the presence that matters, because at the end of the day, when you think back, when you lose your parents, what do you have? Memories.
That's it. Moments.
And I feel like that's another tip. Another tip to me is back to presence over presence. Don't only buy them gifts. And you can buy gifts. Like I always use this, again, my whole motto for parents is I've always pushed this to them to live presence over presence. But presence with presence works as well. Meaning like if you buy your son a football, then you got to go outside and play with him.
Right.
You don't just expect to buy him a football and here, go fucking go throw it to yourself.
Right.
More so, you know what I've learned too is tips for single parents is there's not one way of parenting.
Right.
Example, growing up, my daughter, and anybody who has a daughter who's as old as mine, 19, can understand, there's different styles of parenting. There is the baby and goo goo gaga, and oh my God, like as a guy, like am I holding this thing right? Oh my God, she went to the bathroom, or he went to the bathroom, whatever it is. Then there's they walk. Then there's they're so cute. Then there's they're so crazy. Then there's they don't listen. Then there's there's 6 going on 16.
Yes.
Then there's they lose their innocence. Then there's like they're still sweet, they're amazing, but then there's like dad, and I'm speaking from a separated part. Dad, I'm gonna hang out with my friends this weekend.
Right, that's real.
And I'll never forget the first weekend my daughter went to go hang out with her friends. She was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go sleep over, Janine's house or whatever, a friend." And I would say, "Okay, just make sure you give me the number." I was hurt. I was like, "Yo, this is my best friend." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I hate to keep on saying presence over presence because I feel like, but knowing that why I wanted to live that lifestyle, I learned how to be a better dad. And this is for weekend dads. Don't be a weekend dad, right? If you're cool with the mother, right? I wanted to be more than that. I felt like a weekend dad was like, I was like, nah, I don't want to be that.
No.
So what I would do was I would, if you're cool with the mother, like I'm like, yo, can I come by Tuesday night? Even I was like, here's something I want to explain too. You are a parent so much that you forget. Remember I said you forget about yourself? I understand people don't have time. Make the time. It's almost like doing like a side project. I know people tell me like, I work, I come home, I'm tired. Well, if you want to do a side project, the time you come home from work, and you have to make the time. So if it means you sleep a little less. So I used to go there and just take her for pizza. It wasn't long. It was like an hour. We have a little pizza date. And the crazy thing, we still do that, pizza dates.
Right.
But that gave me the weekend and Tuesday.
Right.
And then I would say, okay, well, how about Thursday? So I would learn how to spend more time with her, because here's the thing, and I'm going to tell this to any internets, any fellow dads, any fellow rap dads worldwide listening. Times are going to change where your kid's going to, not want you to drop them off at school. Drop me off in the back, or I'm going to take a oobs, Dad.
Right, right.
Again, back what I was saying, yo, I'm busy. This weekend I'm not going to be able to hang out with you. You're going to miss those moments. I feel like I'm living them all over again, having a son that's 4 years old. Those are the moments I miss. But let me tell you something. You don't lose your kid. You evolve into a new parenting stage where you watch your daughter grow into a young woman.
Right.
Where it gets a little crazy, though, because now you got to bring her to the prom. You got to, the guys she comes. I meet these guys that say she, had boyfriends. Some are cool. Some I'm like, this guy's a douchebag.
Right.
And then,
now, on that note, you running through all my questions. Dating. Some of them are nice guys. Some of them are douchebags. Do you tell your daughter about the douchebags?
Here's the problem. If you try to make your kids stay away from somebody, they're going to want to be with them more.
There you go.
Look, I consider myself a seasoned veteran. I've been around. I met some guys that she, was dating or whatever. I'm a father, like, set something up. Let's go out to eat. Take them out to eat, just so I could get to know them. I think you see anybody who knows of me knows I love food.
Always.
So it's actually beautiful. Like, if you say, like, yo, we should start a business together. Let's meet up and have lunch. Like, if you say, like, so I always use that, like, food example of, like, getting together.
Right.
So I would get together with a guy and he'll be like, yo, man, my uncle owns like this car dealership. Like, I'm gonna sell some cars. Like, I could get them for like $100. I'm like, all right, $100. Like, I'm not saying he said these exact amounts, but it didn't make sense of what he was saying. And it sounded like a kid who wanted to take shortcuts. And I was like, what about this? And I just didn't. Let me tell you something. As a father, you're not gonna agree with every choice your kid makes.
Right.
You have to pick and choose your battles, especially as a separated dad. I had to learn. My mother used to yell. My mother's great people. My father's great people. But the way they raised me is not the way you should ever raise your kid, meaning they always yelled. And I would find myself yelling at my daughter. And I had to change that. And I would find myself getting mad at my daughter. I learned you have to pick and choose your battles. So, I would take them out to eat, if I would meet somebody, and I would give him my opinion. He seems like a nice guy, or he seems like, this, or I'm like, I don't know about that guy. Like, why would he do that? Like, why would he, and I would ask her, and she would listen to my opinion. My daughter was always worried how, because I'm like a dad, maybe a guy would have an arm around her, and I would like pull up, and I'm like, Skylar, hey, what's up, Nikki? Yo, my man, get your arm off her. You know what I mean? Like, I was very like, so she was always like, I'm very like alert, and so she was like, oh my God, what's he gonna say, or what's he gonna do? I'm very off the cuff.
Right.
But dating is something I'm still getting used to. I don't know, man. It's scary having a daughter, because I know how guys think, and you just want the right person for your kid, man.
Right.
And at the end of the day, I say this a lot. I have anxiety with parenting, because I just pray that at the end of the day that, I did everything I could do for her.
Right.
I did the best, and I hope that there's tomorrow that I could do better. It's It's not easy being a parent, man. It's like I worry financially that I could provide for them to be the best. I worry that I could be the best man I could be, I worry that they'll be okay. I worry that all the gems experiences, moments that I, bestowed upon them was good enough,
Right.
Like I'm dead serious. Like, like sometimes I don't think people like what the fuck, like somebody who's becoming a parent tomorrow, like did they go to class? I always say there's no manual book, so
There
like,
ain't none.
you know what I mean?
No. But so the beauty of this is that you do have time now in terms of the time that you invested in your daughter for these 19 years of her life, the 4 years that you've invested into your son's life. A lot of parents feel like 18 years old, their job is done. A lot of new parents. When you're 18, you're out of here. I mean, you've been hearing that since the beginning of time.
Sure.
So talk about parenting your daughter as a child. Now she's not a child anymore. So what does that relationship look like?
It's crazy, but it's more like, hey, you want to go for tattoos? It's like, hey, I know it sounds crazy.
What?
Yeah. Like, because she likes tattoos, and I'm like, fuck it. Like, no, because I'm like, it's like almost like when can I go sit in the front seat? Like when she got to the front seat, I was like, all right, man, you up here now. Roll down the window, put the chair back, lay back and relax. Okay? We're about to push the whip around the city.
Right.
And it's like, and I know people say don't be a friend, but it's not only being a friend. It's she likes tattoos. I'll never forget, she hid a tattoo from me, and her mother hid it from me, and I was very upset because I felt her mother. We got to a point, like when I said in the beginning, when you separate, it gets worse before it gets better, but then it gets to a good point.
Right.
Where you're like, oh, how you doing, man? I'm good. How's everything? Because all you care about is the kid.
That's it.
And
you should care about
her
is the kid.
her mother didn't tell me because she's like, your father will probably go crazy. He doesn't understand. She was like 17. I was like, what the fuck? I would go crazy. Why don't you? I mean, no, like that's corny.
Right.
I even told her like, yo, you know when to hit me for child support, but you don't know when to tell me like,
right.
My daughter,
we're supposed to be on the same team here.
Yeah, I didn't like that, but I let it slide, and now 2 years later that she's older, and I know she likes him, and I have different friends that good fathers, great tattoo artist, BJ Betts. You should have him on one day. Great guy. But anyway, why not bring her with me? Like, why not, like, yo, let's have a tattoo together. Like, when she finished high school, before she started college, I took her to Mexico. And we literally had this infinity pool that we stayed in all day. And that was the first time, I swear to God. And I felt like, well, pretty much like I've been a good father. Like, I'll speak about some mishaps in the beginning.
Right.
Where I messed up and I was trying to hustle. I was switching careers and I was hustling. I got arrested and I missed my daughter's first day of school, and I was away for a couple of years. And
definitely want to.
And it hurt me. It hurt me. We'll get to it, but there was a point I was trying to make.
An infinity pool.
Yeah. There was the first time. Thank you for that. It was the first time I ever had the most honest conversations ever with my daughter. We went to the bar. I got her like a margarita. I was like, you like these things? She's like, nah. She's like, I had a Long Island iced tea before. I'm like, really? Now you fucking tell me where. And she started telling me all this thing. I'm like, whatever, man. Let's get a margarita. We got it. Crazy thing is, she didn't like it. I don't like it. I'm not much of a drinker. We wound up drinking some fucking orange juice or whatever.
Right.
And she started telling me about like the guy she's with. Nice guy. And they're not together anymore. But she was like, I don't know if I should be with him because I don't really have feelings for him. And I feel like would be hurting him. I don't know what to do. And I was like, yeah, if you don't feel that way. Like, it was the first time I ever had like conversations where I was like smooth and guiding her and I realized how hard I was on her. And I'm not saying that's the bad thing, but it wasn't a good thing. And what I mean by that is I learned that I was she couldn't come and talk to me because I was too strong on her, stern on her. And and to fellow parents worldwide, take a look at yourself sometimes.
Always
learn how to be better. Learn how to communicate better with your kids. I learned that by failing at it.
Right.
Where she wouldn't talk to me. Now she comes and talks to me all the time. Like sometimes she just calls me and I feel like it's weird, but I go with it. Like when I say weird, she'll be like, "Hey, yeah, I'm hanging out with what's her name." I'm like, "I'm about to go home. She's kind of weird. She likes to drink a lot." And I'm like, "Yeah, well, if you don't do that, then
Right.
don't be afraid to like." Just like tell him like, you got to go to the bathroom or go home. Like I was just like talking with her, and
Right.
and she's like, yeah, maybe I'll do that. And she's like, all right, take care. We'll speak later. Speak to you later. I'm like, all right. And it's so like nonchalant, but I was
Right.
like, kind of like a check-in,
For the dads out there that don't know the road ahead of having a teenage daughter, give us some of the issues that have come up for you that you've had to father through, or some of the speed bumps or the hazards that are ahead.
Number one,
Uh-huh.
attitude,
Okay.
angry, nasty. A lot of kids are disrespectful to their parents these days. I've literally had arguments with my daughter. I realized you don't fight fire with fire, and that was
That's a
couple
great
of those,
bar.
a couple of those years that I had to learn how to approach her better.
Right.
But when she would snap at me, I'm like, "Fuck, what the fuck?" Like, yo, like, I just did this for you. I just came here. Like, what the,
Right.
like, what? Like, I don't deserve this because, especially with daughters, I've learned. Like, when she was 6, she was going on 16. When she was 10, she was 28. You know what I
Right.
mean? And she would talk to me, wow, or she would be like, and I would just explain to her like, yo, I love you. Like, I'm just here. I'll give you an example. One of her most recent with Father's Day. I don't know when you dropped this, but Father's Day wasn't too long ago when we just taped this. She wrote me a letter in there and wrote, even if I don't show it all the time, I thoroughly appreciate the caring father you are and the moments that we spend together. And maybe my daughter is not the best at expressing herself.
Mm-hmm.
But that right there showed me that the time, the presence that I speak so much about has instilled in her.
Right.
And look, I'm not perfect, but the attitude is something I had to get over. And I would call her mother like, yo, what the fuck is the matter with your daughter?
Wow.
It's funny how we disown like our
Right,
kids when
right.
they're going wrong. What's the matter with your son?
Same.
What's the matter with your daughter?
Yep.
And she's like, you know how she is. I'm like, nah, man, this is disrespectful. And I remember one time like arguing with her, like, I was crying. Like I was like, what the fuck did I do to you? Like I'm your dad, man. I'm just trying to like why would you treat me like this? Because I never hit her. I never wanted to show her a man. I know some people say, you got to hit them once in a while. I never hit my daughter. I never wanted her to show her that a man was hitting her. Maybe
Right.
do I feel like she deserves an old school style
Right.
crack once in a while? Maybe,
Right.
maybe.
Right. So attitude.
But attitude. Another thing is to me is communication.
Okay.
Because if she says, Dad, I cut school, what the fuck's the matter with you? They close down.
Right.
Find ways like, nah, that's not cool. Okay, so what we're not going to do is I'm not going to get you that vacation. Bye-bye. Nah. I would say don't find a balance
Right.
of being there for your kids without being too stern.
Yeah.
So meaning like, I'm not saying be a sucker and a pushover, but find a balance. I also think, and I lost this along the way, give them goals. Like, yo, that if you finish that program that that you're going to, yeah, what do you like? You like Arirang? Okay, I'm gonna take you there. Or you want that vacation? Like, give them goals instead of just giving them stuff.
Right.
Give let it be earned and awarded.
Right.
And don't be afraid to give bigger things if you can. But be mindful. I know a lot of people like they try to make their kids run through hoops because they don't want them to get spoiled. I always used to say this: we try to give our kids what we didn't have, and then in the interim, we spoil them.
Right.
So what do? Well, that's a great fucking question.
Right.
A question that I'm still fucking figuring out.
Right.
But I will say this: never, I try to make her understand what people don't have, and the littlest things in life. Me personally, I am thankful. Let me tell you something. I was in a box for almost 1 year of my life.
Man.
I didn't know if it was night or day. I came home. I changed my whole life around. I am thankful to be a father. I'm thankful to have the friends I have, the relationships I have, the network I have. I turned, nothing into something. I was able to, bring my daughter to school, and my daughter had gymnastics. I was the only dad there at the time.
Man.
I would have, a lot of guys were working. I'm not knocking them, and
Right,
some,
right.
to be honest with you, may have felt that was a woman's job
100%.
to take their kid. Nah, I was the only woman there sharing recipes. Tuna casserole, yeah.
Wow.
Wait till you have my spicy rigatoni. And that meant a lot, man. I was always there. And I think, I don't want to get off track, but I think, learning to communicate with your kid is important. Don't fly off the handle.
Yeah.
Learn how to find a common ground and a balance.
Right. And on that note, I just want to state, in my experience, I have 3 sons. Though they're genetically made by the same people, more or less, they are all different. Not one of them is like the other, even though they are biological brothers. So when I communicate to my oldest son, who is an introvert, who is very sensitive, I communicate to him differently than I do to my middle son, who is confident and a little headstrong at times, and then my youngest son, he just aims to please, and I want to make sure that I'm effectively communicating with them. A lot of parents think that I am the parent, you are the child. Listen to what I'm telling you. And that is not the way that you are going to effectively communicate with that kid.
What's that thing on the shoulder? You ever see commercials like that where it's like,
right, your conscience.
Your conscience.
Right. The devil and the angel.
I try to be that for my daughter.
Okay.
I try hard. to
be a voice in her
head. And when she gets, it has work. When she gets older, she'll tell me, I'm not getting to this class. Why? Because I'm waking up late. Well, you got the alarm. I know. It's my fault. All right, well, make that better.
Right.
You know what you need to do.
Right.
And she's like, you're right. When someone sees what they're doing wrong and they still do it wrong, then it's on them. But I try to be that, I used to argue with her, and she would, we would get nowhere. She was shut down on me. And I think that, it's important. And to be honest with you, I think another thing is it's important if you feel your kids need therapy, to go to therapy and speak to someone.
Right.
Never be afraid to think of your kid as like lesser than that.
No. This is therapy.
Yeah.
We all need therapy. And I think that that's a great point. If there's an inkling in your mind as a parent that your kid needs to speak to someone aside from you, then you have to make that effort. And look, it may be that they don't need it. But what if they did and you never went?
Sure.
That is a humongous thing. There's a reason why mental health is a humongous issue.
And it's only becoming a bigger issue and bigger issue. Again, I told you, from being New York City kids like we are, one of the fucked up things I did growing up is I would look good, not actually be good. I was more focused on looking good.
Right.
So when you see me, I see you out here.
Right.
I see
out
you.
Here winning.
Yeah.
Shining.
But inside I wasn't good. I looked good. And I think now I'm in love with the fact that we care about how we feel inside.
Right.
That there's people worrying about what you put in your body now.
Yeah.
Nobody gave a fuck about that years ago when we were growing up. And, and let me tell you something, man. You think about it, realistically, just by having a kid, just by having sex, you can have a kid. Anyone can have a kid.
Anybody.
Yeah. Some people can't, due to certain, maybe issues or things that they deal with. But anybody can have a kid.
There's no qualification.
Okay? And most of them don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Right.
Again, there's no manual, there's no booklet.
Right.
But I'm saying today, in this episode, if anybody get anything out of it, speaking with 2 fathers, you got 3 boys, I got a daughter and a son, the best of both worlds.
Yep.
again, I'm gonna say this, your presence is all that matters.
That's it.
Being there for them. Here's some goals. If you're a young parent, old parent, taking your kids to school, best time to have conversations. Picking them up from school, best time to have conversations. Take them out to eat once in a while. Just them. All together as a mother and father and the kids. Sometimes individually.
Right.
Take them out. Yo, what's going on with you, man? How's everything?
Yep.
I always call it pizza. I used to say Thursday. I still do to this day. Thursday pizza date convos. Because it's a date because we're getting together, and it's a convos because we're discussing. We're finding out how we're doing. Look, at the end of the day, man, like I said before, I go to bed every night praying that I did everything I could do.
Right.
That was the best I could be. And do I have more work to do? Absolutely. But I know for a fact that I try to make the best out of every situation, and I made sure that no matter what, that I'm there. That, that my presence will always matter. That, God forbid, when the time God calls me, that my daughter could look back and say, he was always there. And those memories and moments will be what she has to embrace on. Not the 600 Barbie dolls I bought her over that time.
Right.
She ain't going to remember all of them. She remember maybe one or two. That's what matters to me, So...
Perfect.